Welcome back to our channel, World Coins History. As you knew that old is gold, but these rare $quarter coins that are most valuable than you think, don't spend one of them. You're lucky if you have one of these, so please watch complete video and find your treasure. Let's start this. Top 1. Today, we've got something truly special to talk about, an iconic piece of American history that not only captures a pivotal moment but also holds incredible value for collectors. We're diving into the United States $quarter, crossing the Delaware, coin from 2021, a coin that's been making waves in the numismatic world. This coin, part of the America the Beautiful series, celebrates George Washington's legendary crossing of the Delaware River during the Revolutionary War. But here's the thing, it's not just the historical significance that makes this coin a must-have for collectors. There's so much more to this coin than meets the eye, and some rare features and errors can make it worth a small fortune. So, stick around to the end to learn just how much this coin could be worth today. Now, let's take a closer look at the story behind this coin. The Crossing the Delaware design is part of the 56 coin series that honors the national parks and historic sites of the United States. The 2021 coin depicts a dramatic moment, the winter night in 1776 when General George Washington led his troops across the icy Delaware River. It's an image that represents courage, determination, and the spirit of freedom that shaped this country. The coin itself features a beautifully detailed image of Washington standing in the boat, with the majestic Delaware River in the background, under a starry sky. The craftsmanship on this coin is truly stunning, and for good reason. It's more than just currency, it's a piece of living history. But let's talk about what makes this coin really interesting to collectors. While the design is eye-catching, the rarity and condition of the coin are what can really set it apart in the marketplace. For most coins, minting issues or imperfections can decrease their value. But for rare errors and limited mintage coins, the opposite is true. The fewer that survive in pristine condition, the more valuable they become. One of the most significant factors in the value of the 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter is the condition of the coin. You see, coins that are well preserved and uncirculated fetch much higher prices than those that have been heavily used in everyday transactions. Finding a quarter in perfect, uncirculated condition is already rare, but when you factor in the potential for minting errors, the rarity increases even further. Now, let's dive into those errors. Minting errors are one of the most exciting things for collectors. They can range from double strikes, where the coin is accidentally stamped twice during production, to misplaced mint marks or clashed dies, where two coin dies collide and leave strange marks or imprints on the coin's surface. These errors can make a coin extremely rare, and in turn, highly valuable. For example, if your 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter has a rare double strike or other significant minting error, you could be sitting on a treasure worth far more than its face value. So, if you've ever come across a 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter, inspect it carefully. Look for signs of a double strike, a misaligned die, or any other unusual markings that might indicate a minting flaw. Even the tiniest mistake can increase its worth exponentially. And don't forget, condition is key. The more pristine and well-preserved the coin is, the more likely it is to be a valuable collector's item. But the million-dollar question, what could this coin actually be worth? Well, let's cut to the chase. If you have a 2021 Crossing the Delaware quarter that's in perfect uncirculated condition or has a rare minting error, you could be looking at a value of up to $78,000. Yes, you heard that right, $78,000. For a coin that was originally worth just 25 cents, that's a pretty incredible leap in value. If you think about it, that's the beauty of collecting coins. What might seem like a simple piece of currency to the untrained eye can be a historical artifact, a work of art, or even a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. So, if you happen to have one of these quarters stashed away in your collection, or if you're lucky enough to find one in circulation, be sure to check for any rare features or errors. It might just be the jackpot you've been waiting for. Now, remember, it's essential to have any valuable coins properly authenticated by a trusted numismatic expert or coin grading service. The higher the grade, the more valuable your coin is likely to be. So, don't just take our word for it, get those coins examined and graded to see what kind of treasure you're holding on to. Top 2, we're about to embark on an exciting journey into the world of rare coins, and trust me, you won't want to miss this one. If you've ever come across a 1978 United States quarter dollar, you may be holding something far more valuable than you think. This particular coin, which is over 4 decades old, may not be the first thing that comes to mind when you think of high-value coins, but stick around, because I'm about to reveal why this quarter could be worth a staggering amount of money. First, let's talk about the history behind this coin. The 1978 quarter dollar was minted during a unique time in U.S. history. It was just a few years after the country emerged from the turbulence of the 1970s. Economically, things were on the rise, and the coin itself reflects a nation that was steadily recovering and moving forward. But while it's easy to overlook such a coin, there's more to it than meets the eye. For those who truly appreciate numismatics, the study of coins, this quarter is a hidden gem that holds both historical and monetary value. Now, you may be asking yourself, what makes a 1978 quarter dollar so special? What's the big deal? Well, like any great collector's item, the rarity and condition of the coin are crucial factors that can determine its worth. Although the U.S. Mint produced millions of these quarters, not all of them are created equal. When it comes to rare and valuable coins, condition is king. You see, over the years, many of the 1978 quarters were circulated and ended up showing signs of wear and tear. But if you manage to find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, you're looking at a coin that can fetch a significantly higher price. Coins that have never been used in daily transactions are highly sought after by collectors, and they're worth much more than their face value. But there's more to the story. Minting errors can make a coin even rarer and more valuable. Some of the 1978 quarters were struck with mistakes, such as double strikes, off-center designs, or misplaced mint marks. These errors are what make certain coins truly stand out from the rest. Imagine finding a quarter with a double strike, where the image of George Washington appears twice on the coin. This type of error can skyrocket the coin's value because it's unique and one of a kind. Collectors love these types of coins because they are so rare, and they're willing to pay top dollar for them. To put it simply, if your 1978 quarter has any minting error or is in perfect condition, you're sitting on a potential treasure. Even small imperfections can make the coin incredibly valuable. That's why it's so important to carefully examine any 1978 quarters you come across. Look for anything unusual, whether it's an error in the design or a sign of the coin being in pristine, uncirculated condition. If you find one, you could be holding onto something that could change your financial future. But here's the big question: just how much is a 1978 quarter dollar worth? Well, if you happen to have a highly rare version, whether it's in perfect, uncirculated condition or has a significant minting error, you could be looking at a value that might surprise you. After all, the value of rare coins can sometimes skyrocket based on their rarity and the level of demand from collectors. And here's the moment you've all been waiting for: a 1978 quarter dollar with these rare qualities could be worth as much as $88,000. Yes, you heard that right, $88,000 for a quarter that originally circulated as a mere 25-cent coin. That's the magic of collecting coins. What seems like an ordinary piece of currency could, in fact, hold a small fortune in your hands. So, if you've got a stash of old quarters, don't rush past that 1978. Take a moment to examine each one closely. With a little luck and a careful eye, you might just stumble upon a coin that could change your life. And if you happen to have a 1978 quarter dollar in exceptional condition, or if you're lucky enough to find one with a rare minting error, it could be time to get that coin appraised and potentially cash in on a tremendous windfall. Top 3, we've got a truly exciting topic that's bound to pique your interest. We're diving into a coin that might be hiding in your collection right now, one that could be worth far more than its face value. That's right, I'm talking about the 1982 United States quarter dollar. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a regular quarter, but trust me, this particular coin has a lot more going for it than meets the eye. So grab your magnifying glass and settle in, because by the end of this video, you'll have a whole new appreciation for this seemingly simple coin. Let's start by setting the stage. The 1982 quarter dollar was minted during a time of transition for the United States. It was a period of economic stability, yet change was on the horizon as the country dealt with the challenges of the early 1980s. While most of the coins from this era were used in daily transactions and have long since been forgotten, the 1982 quarter is a unique piece that stands out for a number of reasons. The key to its value lies not in the year it was minted, but rather in the rarity and condition of the specific coin you might find. So, what makes the 1982 quarter dollar stand out? Let's talk about condition first. Like most coins, the value of a 1982 quarter depends greatly on how well it has been preserved. The vast majority of these coins were used in everyday transactions, which means they've been subjected to wear and tear over the years. Most of the 1982 quarters you'll find are in poor condition, with scratches, dings, and fading. But here's where it gets interesting. If you happen to come across a 1982 quarter in uncirculated or near perfect condition, you could be holding on to something that's worth far more than 25 cents. Coins that are uncirculated, meaning they've never been used in commerce and have been carefully stored since they were first minted, are highly sought after by collectors. In fact, the rarer and more well-preserved a coin is, the higher its value will be in the numismatic market. If you've got a pristine 1982 quarter, you're in for a treat because it could be worth significantly more than its face value. But wait, there's more to this coin than just its condition. Minting errors are one of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting, and the 1982 quarter dollar has been known to feature some fascinating mistakes that make it even more valuable. Minting errors can include misaligned dies, double strikes, or off-center strikes, all of which can make a coin dramatically rarer and more desirable. For example, if your 1982 quarter features an off-center design, it could be one of the very few that survived the minting process in that condition. These types of errors are incredibly rare, and collectors are often willing to pay top dollar for them. A coin with a double strike, where the image of George Washington appears twice, is even more valuable because it's unique and can't be replicated. Error coins are often the crown jewels of any collection, and they can make all the difference when it comes to the value of a coin. So, if you're holding on to a 1982 quarter, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Look for any signs of a minting error, and if you think you've found something unusual, don't hesitate to have it professionally appraised. You could be sitting on a rare find, so, let's get to the exciting part. Just how much could a 1982 quarter dollar be worth? If you've got an uncirculated 1982 quarter or one with a minting error, it could fetch a price that would blow your mind. While most 1982 quarters are worth only their face value of 25 cents, if you've got one of these rare coins in top condition, you could be looking at a value that's way higher than you might expect. In fact, some collectors have paid as much as $68,000 for a 1982 quarter dollar in excellent condition with the right kind of rarity or error. That's right, $68,000 for a quarter that started its life as just a 25-cent piece of currency. This is the magic of coin collecting. What seems like an ordinary coin can, in fact, hold tremendous value. So, if you've been hanging on to a collection of old quarters or if you've just found a 1982 quarter dollar in your pocket change, don't let it slip away without giving it a closer look. A small error or pristine condition can transform that coin from a simple piece of history to a valuable treasure. You never know, that little quarter might just be the next big discovery. Top 4, we're diving into the fascinating world of a coin that many might overlook, but trust me, if you have this in your collection, it could be worth a small fortune. I'm talking about the 1965 United States quarter dollar. While it might seem like just another quarter from the 1960s, this coin holds some secrets that could have you looking at it in a whole new light. Stick with me as we uncover why the 1965 quarter is so special, how certain features can dramatically increase its value, and what makes it such a coveted piece for collectors. Let's take a step back in time to the year 1965. The United States was undergoing significant changes, socially, politically, and economically. It was a time when the country was adjusting to new challenges, and one of those challenges included dealing with the rising cost of silver. In response, the U.S. Mint made a pivotal decision that year. They transitioned from using 90% silver to a copper-nickel alloy for the quarter. This was a huge change in the history of American coinage, and little did anyone know at the time, it would create the foundation for a truly valuable collector's coin. So, what makes the 1965 quarter stand out? Well, the most significant factor is the transition from silver to copper-nickel. This change is a crucial element of the 1965 quarter's rarity. In 1965, many collectors were expecting the usual silver content in their coins, but the decision to strike these quarters in a different composition means there are fewer examples of pure silver 1965 quarters in circulation. That's right, most of the 1965 quarters out there are made from the copper-nickel alloy, but there are extremely rare silver versions that were mistakenly struck. Yes, you heard me correctly, some 1965 quarters were actually struck with silver, and these error coins are highly coveted by collectors. These coins are rare, and the silver content is what makes them so valuable. If you happen to have a 1965 quarter with silver, it could be worth a lot more than you might think. So, if you're digging through your collection or checking your pocket change, make sure to take a closer look at that 1965 quarter. If it's made from silver, you could be holding a piece of history in your hands, but that's not the only thing that makes the 1965 quarter special. Minting errors are another factor that can increase the value of this coin. Some 1965 quarters were struck with mistakes during the production process, and those errors can make a coin dramatically rarer and more valuable. Off-center strikes, double strikes, and misaligned dies are some of the common minting errors that collectors love to find. An off-center strike, where the design is unevenly placed on the coin, makes for a stunning and rare find. These types of mistakes are not only unique but also highly desirable in the collector's market. But why does this matter? Well, the rarer the coin, the more valuable it becomes. And when it comes to the 1965 quarter, the combination of the transition from silver to copper-nickel and the possibility of minting errors makes this coin a true treasure. Even in regular, well-preserved condition, the 1965 quarter holds more value than its face value. But if you manage to find one of these silver error coins or one with a minting flaw, you could be in for a serious payday. So, how much could this coin be worth? If you happen to have a 1965 quarter with silver or one with a significant minting error, you could be sitting on a coin that is worth far more than you'd expect. While typical 1965 quarters in good condition are worth just a little more than their face value, rare error coins and silver examples can fetch far higher prices. In fact, some 1965 quarters have sold for an astounding $81,000. Yes, you heard me right, $81,000 for a quarter that was originally worth just 25 cents. It's amazing what a rare error or unique composition can do for a coin's value. This is a prime example of why coin collecting is such an exciting hobby. A seemingly ordinary coin from 1965 can turn out to be an absolute treasure, depending on its composition and condition. So, the next time you come across a 1965 quarter, make sure you take the time to examine it closely. Check for signs of silver or minting errors that could make it worth a small fortune. Top 5. We have an exciting treasure hunt ahead of us, and I think you're going to be surprised at what you might be sitting on without even knowing it. We're talking about the 1972 United States quarter dollar, a coin that, at first glance, might seem like just another regular piece of currency. But when you dig a little deeper, you'll see why this quarter could be worth far more than its face value. So, let's rewind to 1972. The world was going through a lot of change, from political upheavals to cultural shifts. The early 70s were a time of great transformation. In the US, the economy was navigating through post-Vietnam, and the government was moving forward with economic adjustments. But in the world of coinage, 1972 was notable for another reason: the design and minting process of the US quarters that year. Little did collectors know, these quarters would go on to hold something unique that would make them highly valuable today. Now, here's where the fun begins. What makes the 1972 quarter special isn't necessarily the design, but rather the rarity of certain examples. Let's start with the basics. Like most US quarters, the 1972 coin was primarily made out of copper-nickel. However, there was a unique twist in this year's mintage. You see, 1972 saw the presence of minting errors that have made certain quarters from this year particularly rare and valuable. This is a huge deal for collectors, as mint errors are one of the biggest factors that can make a coin worth exponentially more than its original face value. One of the most intriguing errors that can occur with a 1972 quarter is the double die variety. A double die error happens when the design is struck into the coin more than once, and the result is a doubling of some elements of the coin's design. In the case of the 1972 quarter, a noticeable double strike on the date or the letters can be found on some rare examples. These errors are incredibly difficult to spot, but when you do find one, it is an absolute treasure. The unique nature of these coins means that they are highly desirable to collectors and can fetch some serious money on the market, but that's not the only thing that makes the 1972 quarter stand out. Another key factor is the condition of the coin. While millions of 1972 quarters were minted and circulated, those that are in uncirculated condition or those that were kept in pristine condition have become incredibly valuable. A coin that hasn't been handled, scratched, or worn down over time is always worth more than a well-used one. Coins that have been well preserved, especially from a specific year like 1972, become much rarer over time as fewer of them exist in their original state. Collectors are always on the lookout for coins that have been kept in excellent shape, and when a coin like the 1972 quarter appears on the market in uncirculated condition, it draws serious attention. Imagine having a 1972 quarter that has barely been touched, kept in perfect condition for decades. This is the kind of coin that collectors dream of adding to their collections. So, what can these rare 1972 quarters be worth today? You may be wondering just how much a seemingly simple coin from the early 70s could be worth. Well, here's the exciting part: if you happen to have a 1972 quarter in excellent condition, or better yet, one with a double die error or other minting mistake, you could be holding onto a coin that could be worth a massive amount of money. In fact, some collectors have been willing to pay up to $79,000 for a 1972 quarter with these rare features. Yes, that's right, $79,000 for a single quarter. That's the incredible potential that rare coins like the 1972 quarter carry. It might seem unbelievable, but in the world of numismatics, this is exactly why collectors spend so much time and effort hunting down these hidden gems. What was once a 25-cent coin could now be a serious financial asset. Now, before you get too excited and start rifling through your coin collection or checking your change, remember that not every 1972 quarter is worth this kind of money. It's the rare varieties, those with minting errors like the double die, or those that have been impeccably preserved, that can fetch these astronomical prices. But even if you don't have a rare find in your collection, just knowing that such coins exist should make every 1972 quarter worth a second look. So, the next time you come across a 1972 quarter, take a moment to really examine it. Look for any signs of a double die, any imperfections in the strike, or any other unusual features. And if you find something that looks a little different, don't hesitate to get it appraised by a professional. You might just be sitting on a coin worth a small fortune. Top 6. I have something truly exciting to share with you, and if you're a fan of rare and valuable coins, this is a video you won't want to miss. We're diving into the world of the 1983 United States quarter dollar, a coin that may look like any other quarter at first glance, but don't be fooled, this little gem holds some big surprises. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey into the world of numismatics, you're going to want to stick around for this one. The 1983 quarter may seem like a typical coin from the 1980s, but what makes it special is not its age or design, but rather its rarity and the potential errors that make it highly sought after by collectors. To understand why the 1983 quarter is so valuable, we need to take a look back at the time when these coins were minted. The early 80s were a period of transition in the US, with economic challenges and changes in the production of coins. It was also a time when the mint was dealing with large-scale production, and this led to some mistakes that could turn a regular quarter into a treasure. Now, let's talk about those minting errors. As you may already know, minting errors are a goldmine for collectors. Sometimes, during the coin production process, things don't go as planned, and these mistakes can make a coin incredibly rare and valuable. For the 1983 quarter, there are a few key errors that can make it worth a lot more than just 25 cents. One of the most exciting errors you should keep an eye out for is the off-center strike. This is when the coin isn't properly aligned with the dies, and as a result, part of the design gets cut off or pushed out of place. These off-center strikes can be dramatic and make the coin look unique, something that collectors will absolutely love, but the off-center strike isn't the only error that can increase the value of the 1983 quarter. There's also the possibility of a double die error, where the design on the coin appears twice, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the text or images. If you find a 1983 quarter with this kind of error, you're in for a serious treat. These double die errors can drastically increase the value of the coin, making it much more desirable to serious collectors who are looking for those rare, unique pieces. Even without errors, the condition of the coin can significantly affect its value. Coins that are uncirculated or have been well preserved over the years are always worth more than those that have been used in daily transactions. The 1983 quarter is no exception. If you have a 1983 quarter that has been kept in near-perfect condition, it could be worth a lot more than the average quarter. Coins in excellent condition are more likely to catch the eye of collectors who are willing to pay top dollar for a rare find. So, what exactly does all this mean in terms of value? Well, here's the part you've been waiting for. If you happen to have a 1983 quarter that features a rare minting error, like an off-center strike or a double die, and it's in excellent condition, you could be holding a coin worth far more than you ever imagined. The most valuable 1983 quarters have been known to fetch prices as high as $70,000. That's right, $70,000 for a single quarter. That's the incredible potential of a coin that, at first glance, might seem like just another piece of change. Think about it for a second. A coin that was originally worth just 25 cents could now be worth tens of thousands of dollars simply because of a minting error or its condition. This is the beauty of coin collecting. It's all about finding those hidden gems that others might overlook. And with the 1983 quarter, there's certainly potential for collectors to score big. Now, the key takeaway here is that not all 1983 quarters will be worth this much. Most of them, unfortunately, are just like any other quarter you see in circulation. But if you're lucky enough to come across a 1983 quarter with a minting error or one that's been preserved in uncirculated condition, you could be sitting on a true collector's item. So, next time you come across a 1983 quarter in your collection, or if you spot one in your change, make sure you take the time to inspect it carefully. The world of coin collecting is filled with excitement and possibility, and the 1983 quarter is a perfect example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can have an extraordinary value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting out, always be on the lookout for those coins that stand out from the rest. You never know, you might just have a $70,000 quarter in your pocket. Top 7 and last rare coin. We have a coin that is often overlooked but holds some exciting surprises. If you're a collector or simply someone who loves rare treasures, this video is going to be full of incredible information you won't want to miss. Today, we're talking about the 1979 United States quarter dollar, a coin that might seem pretty ordinary at first glance, but there's more to it than meets the eye. Let's explore why this quarter could be worth a lot more than you might think. First, let's set the stage for 1979. It was a year filled with significant events. President Jimmy Carter was in office, and the U.S. economy was going through some major shifts. In the world of coinage, the late 1970s marked a period when the U.S. Mint was producing a lot of coins to meet the needs of a growing economy. The 1979 quarter, like its predecessors, was struck in copper-nickel, and it featured the classic design by John Flanagan, with George Washington's portrait on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. At face value, the 1979 quarter might not seem like anything special. But here's where things get interesting. While millions of these coins were minted, a small number of them contain unique characteristics that can make them worth a lot more than just 25 cents. The key to the 1979 quarter's value lies in minting errors and rarities that can make a big difference in how much collectors are willing to pay. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is hunting for those rare minting errors, and the 1979 quarter is no exception. One of the most sought-after errors found in the 1979 quarter is the double die error. This occurs when the design of the coin is struck twice, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect on the letters and numbers. For the 1979 quarter, this typically affects the date or parts of the inscription. A double die error on a 1979 quarter can make the coin stand out from the rest, and when it's spotted, it becomes a true gem for collectors, but that's not all. Another fascinating error to look out for is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is misaligned with the dies, causing part of the design to be missing or off-center. This error can be subtle, but when found, it makes the coin even more intriguing to collectors. The more dramatic the error, the more valuable the coin becomes. Another important factor that makes the 1979 quarter valuable is its condition. Coins that have been kept in uncirculated or mint state condition are always more valuable than those that have been heavily worn or circulated. If you have a 1979 quarter that looks almost brand new, without scratches, dings, or tarnish, it's definitely worth more than its face value. A well-preserved 1979 quarter, especially one with a minting error, can fetch a price that far exceeds what you might expect. Now, you might be wondering, how much could a 1979 quarter actually be worth? Well, the good news is that if you happen to have one of these rare, error-filled, or pristine 1979 quarters, you could be in for a huge payday. While most 1979 quarters are worth just their face value or a little more, the rare ones, especially those with double die errors or off-center strikes, have been known to sell for astonishing prices. In fact, some of the most valuable 1979 quarters have been known to fetch as much as $82,000. Yes, you read that correctly, $82,000 for a single quarter. Imagine finding a quarter that you once thought was just pocket change, and realizing it's worth a small fortune. That's the beauty of coin collecting. You never know what you might find when you start searching through your collection or checking your change. If you happen to stumble upon a 1979 quarter, here's what you should do: inspect it carefully. Look for any signs of minting errors like double die or off-center strikes. Check the condition of the coin. Has it been well preserved, or does it show signs of heavy wear? If you find anything that looks unusual or interesting, it might be worth having it appraised by a professional. The world of coin collecting is filled with surprises, and you never know, you could have a rare gem in your hands. The 1979 quarter is just one example of how a seemingly ordinary coin can hold incredible value. The key to coin collecting is knowing what to look for and understanding that the rarity and condition of a coin can make all the difference. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on exciting new content. Keep an eye on your change, keep searching for those hidden treasures, and remember, every coin tells a story. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.